What's the secret to a long life and an even longer career in music? Is it luck, pure talent, or something else entirely? We looked at the lives of country music's oldest living legends to find the answer. These are the stars who've become more than just musicians. They're institutions. Get ready for some incredible stories of survival, success, and pure, simple love for a great song. The story of our first star, who's nearly 100, will absolutely shock you. 1. Leroy Van Dyke. A man who has seen more of country music history than almost anyone alive. We're talking about Leroy Van Dyke. Born way back in 1929, Leroy is an incredible 96 years old in 2025. Just think about that for a second. This man was born before the Great Depression really hit. He was a teenager during World War II, and he started his music career when Eisenhower was president. It's truly mind-boggling. He's a living link to the very roots of modern country music. Leroy grew up on a farm in Missouri, and his path to stardom wasn't exactly straightforward. He went to college, served in the Korean War as a counterintelligence agent, and even worked as a journalist. But music was always calling him. His big break came from a song he wrote based on his real-life experience as a livestock auctioneer. The song was called "The Auctioneer," and it was unlike anything people had heard before. It was a fast-talking, rhythmic, and incredibly catchy story that shot up the charts in 1956. It sold millions of copies and made him a household name. But he wasn't a one-hit wonder. A few years later, he recorded a song that would become his signature anthem, a little tune called "Walk On By." That song was a monster hit. It spent an unbelievable 19 weeks at the #1 spot on the country charts and even crossed over to the pop charts. For decades, it held the record for the most weeks at #1. Truth be told, Leroy Van Dyke has had one of the most durable careers in show business, performing for over 70 years. He was a pioneer in blending country with a more polished, upbeat sound that would later be called the Nashville sound. He became a huge star not just in America but around the world, and he's been a beloved member of the Grand Ole Opry for over 60 years. Even in his 92nd, he has remained a symbol of timeless showmanship. Leroy's longevity is one thing, but our next artist took longevity and combined it with a legendary outlaw spirit, creating a career that is still going strong after more than 60 years of beautiful music and legendary tales. 2. Willie Nelson. When you think of country music legends, one of the first names that pops into your head is probably Willie Nelson, and for good reason. Born in 1933, Willie is a cool 92 years old in 2025, and believe it or not, he's still one of the hardest working musicians on the planet. The man's tour schedule is relentless. He plays more shows in a year than artists who are literally 70 years younger than him. His energy is simply legendary, powered by his love for playing music for his fans. Willie's story is one of pure, unadulterated persistence. He started writing songs as a little kid in Abbott, Texas, and moved to Nashville in the 1962nd to become a songwriter. And boy, was he good at it. He wrote some of the most iconic songs in country music history for other people, tunes like "Crazy" for Patsy Cline or "Pretty Paper" for Roy Orbison. The problem was, the Nashville establishment didn't quite know what to do with Willie as a performer. They thought his singing style, a little behind the beat and full of unique phrasing, was too weird for the radio. So what did he do? He packed his bags, left Nashville, and moved to Austin, Texas. There, he let his hair grow long, embraced a new audience of hippies and rednecks, and kicked off what became known as the outlaw country movement. He started making music his way, and it turned him into a superstar. Albums like "Red-Headed Stranger" became instant classics. He recorded hit after hit like "On the Road Again" and "Always on My Mind." He sold more than 40 million albums in the US alone, won every award imaginable, and has become a true American icon. His annual Farm Aid concert has raised millions for family farmers, and his trusty beat-up guitar, Trigger, is almost as famous as he is. Willie Nelson isn't just a singer, he's a philosopher, a poet, and the cool grandpa of country music. Willie became famous for writing hits for others before becoming a star himself. Our next legend followed a very similar path, but this man wasn't just a songwriter. He was a decorated Army captain, a helicopter pilot, and a Rhodes Scholar before he ever picked up a guitar in Nashville. 3. Kris Kristofferson. Get ready for a life story that sounds more like a Hollywood movie than reality. Kris Kristofferson, born in 1936, is 89 years old in 2025. Before he wrote some of the most poetic and heartfelt songs ever, Kris lived a whole other life. He was the son of an Air Force Major General, a Golden Gloves boxer, a college football player, and a creative writing student at Pomona College. But that was just the beginning. He earned a Rhodes Scholarship to study literature at Oxford University in England. That is a huge deal, a mark of a brilliant mind. After Oxford, he joined the U.S. Army, became a captain, and learned to fly helicopters. He was offered a prestigious job teaching literature at the West Point Military Academy. But Kris had a different dream. He had a fire inside him to write songs. So, in a move that stunned his family, he turned down the West Point job, left the Army, and moved to Nashville with his wife and kids to chase his musical dream. To make ends meet while he pitched his songs, he took a job as a janitor at Columbia Studios. Can you imagine that? A Rhodes Scholar and Army captain sweeping floors, just hoping to get a song heard. His big break was something straight out of a legend. He famously landed a helicopter in Johnny Cash's yard to give him a demo tape. The bold move worked. Cash recorded his song Sunday Mornin' Comin' Down, and it became a massive hit. Suddenly, everyone wanted a Kris Kristofferson song. He wrote Me and Bobby McGee for Janis Joplin, Help Me Make It Through the Night for Sammy Smith, and For the Good Times for Ray Price. He then launched his own incredible career as a singer and even became a major Hollywood movie star, appearing in films like A Star is Born. Although he retired from touring, his legacy as a poet and a rebel is forever secure. Kris became a star by writing songs for others. Our next artist also made his name as a songwriter, but he's known as Whisperin' Bill for a reason, and he holds a record for songwriting that is simply untouchable. 4. Bill Anderson. Some people are good at one thing. Bill Anderson is great at about 5 different things. Born in 1937, Whisperin' Bill Anderson is 88 years old in 2025, and he is one of the most respected and enduring figures in all of country music. He got his nickname for his soft, breathy, conversational singing style, which was completely different from the booming voices of many of his peers. It was intimate and personal, making you feel like he was telling you a secret, and audiences absolutely loved it. Bill, who grew up in Georgia, was a smart cookie from the start. He graduated from the University of Georgia with a degree in journalism and actually worked as a sports writer and radio DJ before his music career took off. He wrote and recorded his first big hit, a song called City Lights, when he was just 19 years old. Ray Price recorded it, and it went to #1 for 13 weeks. That was the start of one of the most successful songwriting careers in history. Here's the kicker, and it's a fact that will blow your mind. Bill Anderson has had a song on the country charts in every single decade for 7 straight decades. The 1,952nd, 62nd, 72nd, 82nd, 92nd, 2002nd, and 2010nd. Nobody else has done that. It's a staggering achievement that speaks to his incredible ability to adapt and write songs that connect with people of all generations. He had his own massive hits as a singer, like Still, Mama Sang a Song, and The Corner of My Life. But he also wrote huge hits for other artists, like a powerful song called Whiskey Lullaby for Brad Paisley and Alison Krauss. On top of all that, he was a popular television host and a member of the Grand Ole Opry for more than 60 years. Bill Anderson is a true Nashville treasure, a gentleman, and a master of the country song. Bill Anderson found success with a unique, quiet vocal style. Our next artist did the exact opposite. She was a tiny powerhouse with a giant voice who earned the nickname Little Miss Dynamite when she was just a kid. 5. Brenda Lee. Don't let her small size fool you. Brenda Lee, born in 1944, is a force of nature. At 81 years old in 2025, she stands as one of the most successful female artists of all time. Brenda was a prodigy, a little girl from Atlanta, Georgia, with a voice that was shockingly powerful and mature. She was only 4 feet 9 inches tall, but her voice could fill any room and shake the rafters. She started her career when she was just a child, and by the time she was a teenager, she was a massive international star. Her nickname was Little Miss Dynamite, and it was perfect. She could sing anything. She could belt out a rockabilly tune like Sweet Nothings with sass and energy, and then turn around and break your heart with a beautiful ballad like I'm Sorry. That song, I'm Sorry, was a #1 pop hit that she recorded when she was only 15 years old. Think about that. At an age when most of us are worried about homework, she was at the top of the music world. During the 1962nd, she was one of the biggest pop stars on the planet, with only Elvis Presley, the Beatles, and Ray Charles selling more records than her. And here's something you might not know. You hear her every single year. Brenda Lee is the voice behind the holiday classic, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. She recorded that timeless song when she was just 13 years old. It has since become one of the most beloved Christmas songs of all time, a staple of the holiday season around the globe. As her career went on, she returned to her country roots and had a string of hits on the country charts. She was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a rare honor that shows her incredible versatility. Brenda Lee is a true legend, a pint-sized vocalist with a gigantic legacy. Brenda Lee was a child prodigy who conquered the world. Our next artist wasn't a child star, but he came from a legendary family and ended up creating one of the most famous and beloved family bands in music history, all while rocking one of the most iconic beards you've ever seen. 6. William Lee Golden. You may not know the name William Lee Golden on its own, but you definitely know his voice, and you absolutely know his look. Born in 1939, making him 86-inch 2025, William Lee Golden is the undeniable soul and visual anchor of the legendary country and gospel group, the Oak Ridge Boys. That long, flowing, majestic white beard? That's him. He's often called the Mountain Man, and for decades he has been the baritone voice in that iconic 4-part harmony that has thrilled audiences for generations. The Oak Ridge Boys have a history that goes way back to the 1942nd as a gospel quartet. William Lee Golden joined the group in 1965 and was a key part of their transition from a gospel-only group to the country music superstars they became in the late 1972nd and 82nd. When the group decided to try their hand at country music, the results were explosive. They released a string of huge hits that are still played on the radio every single day. Think about their biggest songs. The incredibly catchy and upbeat Elvira, with its famous Papa Mo Mo bass vocal, became a massive crossover smash hit and is one of the most recognizable country songs ever made. Then there are other classics like Bobby Sue, American Made, and the heartfelt Thank God for Kids. Through it all, William Lee Golden's steady baritone was the glue that held their sound together. The group sold millions of albums, won countless awards, and became members of the Grand Ole Opry and the Country Music Hall of Fame. The group continues to tour, a testament to their enduring friendship and musical chemistry. William Lee Golden is more than just a beard. He's the heart of a true American music institution. The Oak Ridge Boys are famous for their 4-part harmony. Our next star is famous for a singular, powerful voice that is considered by many of his peers to be one of the greatest pure country voices of all time. 7. Gene Watson. In the world of country music, there are singers and then there are singers. Gene Watson is in that second category. Born in 1943, Gene is 82 years old in 2025, and he is what you would call a singer's singer. Artists like Vince Gill, George Strait, and Lee Ann Womack all point to Gene Watson as one of the best pure vocalists the genre has ever produced. His voice is smooth as silk, powerful as a locomotive and filled with genuine emotion. When Gene Watson sings a sad song, you feel it in your bones. Gene grew up in Texas and worked a number of blue-collar jobs, including at an auto body shop, while he played in clubs at night. He was a honky-tonk hero, singing classic country music for folks who just wanted to dance and hear great stories. He got his big break in the mid-1972 with a song that would define his career, a little cheating tune called "Love in the Hot Afternoon." It shot to the top of the charts and introduced the world to his incredible voice. For the next decade, he was a constant presence on the radio. He released a string of unforgettable hits, like the beautiful ballad "Paper Rosie," the clever "Nothing Sure Looked Good on You," and his signature song, the heartbreaking "Farewell Party." That song is considered a masterpiece of country music, a showcase for his incredible vocal range and control. Truth be told, Gene never chased trends. He stayed true to traditional country music, filled with fiddles and steel guitars, even when the genre started to lean more towards pop sounds. He has remained a dedicated road warrior his entire career, playing for his loyal fans all across the country. He's a humble, no-frills kind of guy who just happens to possess one of the most magnificent voices in the history of American music. Gene Watson is a master of the traditional country sound. Our next artist took that tradition and blended it with soul, pop, and R&B, creating a sound all his own, and he did it all without the benefit of sight. 8. Ronnie Milsap. Ronnie Milsap is a testament to the idea that talent knows no barriers. Born in 1943, making him 82-inch 2025, Ronnie was born with a congenital disorder that left him almost completely blind from birth. He was raised by his grandparents in the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina, and while he lost his sight, he gained a deep and profound connection to sound and music. He was a brilliant student, and he was drawn to the piano. He mastered classical piano, but his heart was in the rock and roll of Elvis Presley, the soul of Ray Charles, and the country of Charlie Pride. He started his career playing in clubs and as a session musician. He even scored a minor R&B hit in the 60-second. For a while, he was torn between pursuing soul music or country music. The legend goes that he was playing a gig when Charlie Pride saw him and was blown away. Pride told him he should move to Nashville and play country music. Ronnie took his advice, and the rest is history. In the 1972nd and 82nd, Ronnie Milsap became one of the biggest stars in country music, period. His success was staggering. He had a run of hits that is almost hard to comprehend. Between 1976 and 1992, he had 40 #1 country hits. That is an incredible number. He blended his country roots with pop and soul influences to create a sound that was completely fresh and irresistible. Songs like "It Was Almost Like a Song," "Smoky Mountain Rain," and "Stranger in My House" were huge crossover hits that made him a household name. He proved that great music is about what you can do, not what you can't. Ronnie Milsap didn't just overcome his challenge. He used his unique perspective to create some of the most joyful and soulful music of his generation. Ronnie used his unique perspective to create joyful music. But what about a voice so pure and God-given that it seemed to come straight from heaven, stopping Nashville in its tracks from the very first note? Our next legend is a woman whose debut single became an instant classic, and she's still gracing the Opry stage today. 9. Connie Smith. Some voices are so powerful and pure, they just stop you in your tracks. Connie Smith has one of those voices. Born in 1941, she is 84 years old in 2025 and remains one of the most revered vocalists in country music history. Connie's story isn't one of chasing fame from a young age. She was a housewife and mother in Ohio who simply loved to sing at local events and on local television. Her whole life changed in 1963 when the great Bill Anderson heard her sing at a talent contest. He was so blown away, he knew he had to help her. Bill wrote a song just for her, and it became her very first single. That song was called "Once a Day." It wasn't just a hit. It was a genuine phenomenon. It shot to #1 on the country charts in 1964 and stayed there for 8 consecutive weeks. At the time, that was the longest run at #1 for a debut single by a female artist. Connie Smith had arrived, and her incredible, emotive voice set a new standard in Nashville. She was a master of the heart-wrenching ballad. Throughout the 62nd and 72nd, she released a string of hits, including Ain't Had No Lovin' and The Hurtin's All Over. Dolly Parton once said, "There's really only 3 female singers in the world: Streisand, Ronstadt, and Connie Smith. The rest of us are just pretending." That's how respected she is among her peers. For years, she stepped back from the relentless touring schedule to raise her family, but she never stopped being a beloved member of the Grand Ole Opry. Now married to fellow country star Marty Stewart, she continues to perform and record, her voice as stunning as ever. Connie became a Nashville queen with a voice of gold, but our next star is a king of the Texas honky-tonks, a man who lived the rodeo life before ever singing about it. 10. Moe Bandy. If country music had a rodeo king, it would have to be Moe Bandy. Born in Mississippi in 1944, Moe is 81-inch 2025, and his music is still the soundtrack to Saturday nights in 1,000 dance halls. He grew up in San Antonio, Texas, and for a long time, music was his second passion. His first love was the rodeo. He was a sheet metal worker by day and a bronc rider and bull rider on the weekends. He was a real-deal cowboy, living the life that so many country singers only sing about. After getting tired of the bumps and bruises, he decided to focus on his music career, playing in the rough-and-tumble honky-tonks around San Antonio. He had a voice that was pure Texas twang, perfect for telling stories of love, loss, and life's little ironies. His big break came in 1975 with a song that perfectly combined his two worlds. The song was Bandy the Rodeo Clown, a classic tale of a man hiding his broken heart behind a painted-on smile. It became a huge hit and his signature song that kicked off a great run for Moe. He teamed up with another honky-tonk hero, Joe Stampley, and as Moe and Joe, they had a blast with comedic hits like Just Good Old Boys. On his own, Moe kept the hits coming with songs like Hank Williams' You Wrote My Life and I Cheated Me Right Out of You. He never tried to be anything other than what he was, a straight-shooting, traditional country singer. He's still out there on the road, playing his heart out, a living embodiment of the cowboy spirit. Moe Bandy brought the rodeo to the radio, but our next legend was a different kind of cowboy, a true musical outlaw who fought the Nashville system for creative freedom and won. 11. Bobby Bare. Let's talk about a true original, a man who has always walked his own path. We're talking about the one and only Bobby Bare. Born in 1935, Bobby is a spry 90 years old in 2025, and he remains one of the coolest and most respected figures in country music. He was one of the original outlaws, alongside Willie and Waylon, but his rebellion was often quieter and more intellectual. He fought for creative control and made albums that were more like artistic statements than collections of potential hit singles. Bobby Bare's career started in a bizarre way. He wrote and recorded a song, but before it was released, he was drafted into the Army. The record label mistakenly released the song with the artist credited as All-American Boy, and it became a hit while he was serving his country. When he got out, he had to reclaim his own identity. He soon established himself with his distinctive conversational singing style and a knack for finding incredible songs. He had huge hits with tunes like Detroit City and 500 Miles Away from Home. But here's the kicker, and what makes Bobby Bare so important. In the early 1972nd, he grew tired of the Nashville system, where producers controlled everything. He negotiated a landmark deal with his record label that gave him complete artistic control over his albums. He used that freedom to create one of the greatest albums in country music history, a record called Lullabies, Legends, and Lies. It was a concept album filled entirely with songs written by his good friend, the brilliant and quirky songwriter Shel Silverstein, the same guy who wrote children's books like The Giving Tree. The album was a masterpiece and included his biggest hit, a hilarious story song called Marie Laveau. Bobby Bare championed great songwriters his entire career and proved that country music could be smart, funny, and artistically ambitious. Bobby Bare was a champion for songwriters. Our final legend is a man who also made his name with a pen, a black land farmer whose raw, traditional sound has made him a Texas institution for over 60 years. 12. Frankie Miller. Talk about a voice that just sounds like authentic, unfiltered country music. Frankie Miller, born in 1933-inch Victoria, Texas, will be 91 years old in 2025, and he is a true keeper of the traditional honky-tonk flame. Frankie wasn't chasing Nashville fame or trying to smooth out the rough edges of his music. He was a Texas boy through and through who loved singing in the local bars and dance halls where country music felt most at home. In the late 1952nd and early 1962nd, he signed with the legendary Starday Records, a label famous for its raw, no-frills country sound. It was the perfect fit. Frankie's voice was full of grit and heart, and he sang songs about real life. His biggest and most enduring hit is a song called Black Land Farmer. It's a powerful, almost defiant ode to the struggles and pride of a family working the soil. It's not a sad song, it's a statement of identity, and it resonated deeply with rural audiences all across America. Frankie's other songs, like Family Man and True Blue, carried that same feeling of simple, honest working-class truth. He never became a crossover pop star, and he never wanted to be. He was content to be a hero to the people who lived the lives he sang about. He is a treasured figure in Texas country music circles, a direct link to the golden age of honky-tonk. Even in recent years, he has continued to perform at country music festivals in Texas, his voice still carrying the weight and wisdom of a life lived true to its roots. Frankie Miller is a powerful reminder that sometimes the most memorable music doesn't come from the brightest spotlights, but from the truest hearts.